Hey you guys, Donnie Darko is one of those cult classics that gets better with age. It was one of the first movies that I remember borrowing from Blockbuster when I worked there back in the day. Donnie Darko sprang from the creative mind of Richard Kelly. He wrote the initial screenplay while still a film student in the 90s. The concept for the film's intricate time travel storyline came to Kelly over several years. It was inspired by his interest in wormholes and the writings of Stephen Hawking. After years of pitching his script to producers, Kelly finally got the chance to bring Donnie Darko to life on a modest $4.5 million budget. The cast came together through Kelly's college connections and open casting calls searching for fresh talent. The role of Donnie went to a young Jake Gyllenhaal who delivered a star-making performance. And in January of 2001, Donnie Darko premiered at Sundance, where it became a breakout indie hit. Unfortunately, its theatrical release was just weeks after 9/11, causing the film to struggle. Over time, however, word of mouth and DVD releases grew Donnie Darko into the cult classic it is today. At first glimpse, Donnie Darko seemed like a coming-of-age drama about an angsty suburban teen. But then in comes Frank, and I knew I was in for one hell of a ride. For those unfamiliar, Frank is an ominous humanoid rabbit. The plot quickly ventures into mind-bending sci-fi territory through dream sequences, wormholes, and manipulation of the space-time continuum. On October 2nd, 1988, troubled high schooler Donnie Darko narrowly avoids being killed by a mysterious jet engine that crashed into his bedroom. This bizarre incident plunges Donnie into an alternate timeline over the next 28 days. Here, he's plagued by visions of Frank and the impending end of the world. Alongside coping with typical teen drama like romance and cliques, Donnie tries to understand his surreal visions through research on time travel, philosophy, and wormhole physics. The story builds to a climax on Halloween night when time portals open over Donnie's town and he must decide the fate of himself and the universe. A huge part of Donnie Darko's appeal comes from the eccentric characters and talented cast that bring them to life. In the lead role, Jake Gyllenhaal captures Donnie's detachment, honesty, and simmering rage. From beating the crap out of high school bullies to debating morality with teachers, Gyllenhaal makes Donnie sympathetic even in his wildest moments. As the new girl Gretchen, Jenna Malone provides the brightness and romance otherwise missing from Donnie's nihilistic perspective. Malone brings genuineness to Gretchen's quirky style and growing attraction to Donnie. Their romance adds moments of sweetness that balance Donnie's darker tones. The supporting cast shines as well, from Noah Weil as Donnie's science teacher to Patrick Swayze as a motivational speaker who Donnie believes is running a pedophilia ring. Drew Barrymore also stands out in her small role as Donnie's English teacher, injecting humor and heart into her mentorship of Donnie. Even small roles like Donnie's sisters and his group of friends help bring Middlesex to life. On a visual level, Donnie Darko establishes an immersive atmosphere and dreamlike tone through its cinematography and editing. There's extensive use of Steadicam, slow motion, and soundtrack montages, giving the film an otherworldly vibe. One of the most referenced roles in Donnie Darko has got to be Frank. Frank is the giant, sinister-looking rabbit who appears to Donnie throughout the film, acting as a sort of mentor. Frank often gives Donnie puzzling advice or commands, urging him to commit destructive acts while warning that the world will end in 28 days. In terms of appearance, Frank has an ominous, creepy look with his giant rabbit mask and red demonic eyes. He looks like a twisted Easter Bunny mascot. His startling appearance highlights the surreal, dreamlike tone of Donnie's tangent universe. On a symbolic level, Frank seems to represent a few key ideas. First, he's a manifestation of Donnie's subconscious, giving voice to Donnie's internal confusion, anger, and rebellious instincts. Frank verbalizes the desires Donnie tries to suppress. Second, as a time traveler, Frank acts as a messenger about the impending end of the world linked to Donnie's fate. Donnie must listen to Frank in order to play his role in correcting the timeline. And third, with his commands to flood the school and burn down houses, Frank encourages anarchy and destruction of suburban banality, themes that appeal to angry teen outcasts like Donnie. While an ominous figure, Frank does seem to guide Donnie towards his destined path and self-sacrifice at the end to save those he loves. In this sense, Frank acts as a supporter, encouraging Donnie to embrace his superhero role. The giant bunny is Donnie's twisted mentor, preparing him to face his unthinkable fate outside the universe. And if Frank were here right now, he'd want you to check out this analysis right here.